Hey everybody, it's Anna. Time for our final card in this week's tarot story. So we close the week with the Knight of Swords. So the Knight is the action taker of the court cards, and swords are connected to the mind. This is a very high momentum energy. You can see it in the card, right? He's practically flying across the field. He's got a sword race. His horse is, the hooves aren't even on the ground. He's just flying across the field. So this mind is like, I'm going where I'm going. I know my quest. I'm on my way. Very focused, very, very clear, and very committed to the job, right? The challenge of this card comes when the mind is committed in a way that's sort of not grounded in genius. Like the mind is committed based on what it thinks we're being called to do rather than its actual connection to our genius and our intuition. So the knight's job is to follow the directions of the king, of the master, right? So if it's not following the directions of something deeper, something wiser, it will burn a lot of energy running in a certain direction, doing a certain thing, but also he's insensitive. This knight is running so fast and so hard. Like if there's a small animal in his way, it's just going to get trampled. There's this idea this knight is almost too confident, too in flow, and when he's on his own. So I would say that the gift of this knight is when he learns to be responsive to the intuition. And this tarot story this week has been about, the first was the Two of Pentacles, which is about finding your energetic balance and paying attention to it. And so that if you're paying attention to your energetic balance, you're saying, oh, I'm getting tired. I need to change something. I need to look at something. That's asking the mind to problem solve this problem. Treat this problem like it's real. We can't just go harder. Often when we start having struggles, the mind solution is to work harder. Instead of pausing, wait, see if we can figure out what's going on, like taking a time to sit down and have a conversation with the intuition. I see that a lot, like the mind's general response to uncertainty, until it learns differently, is to work harder, to push harder, to yell harder, insecurity results in a hardening, in a toughening out of this energy. We want this knight to be responsive, not tough, if that makes sense. So I feel like this knight shows that the knight is called into action when it's time, when it recognizes the intuition is calling it into action. Not because the mind thinks it's time, because the intuition has released into that guidance. It's funny because I've had a few clients, probably more than a few, but a few I can think of right now, who talked about really wanting to break. So yesterday's card was Strength Reversed, and I talked about how, we do need to take seriously our times of rest. And especially if by the time you are burnt out, you missed your opportunity to rest. Now you're going to be pushed. You're going to get sick. You're going to have a mental health crisis. Like you're going to have, at some point, you're going to have a collapse because we missed the invitations to rest along the way, right? So what we want to do is get better at noticing the call to rest and better at calling the mind into that so that it doesn't kind of run past us, right? So my clients were talking about needing a rest. And I'd say, why don't you just go and make no plans at all, which is like leaving open space. And the ongoing fear is that, well, if I ever stop moving, I'll never start again. Like because the feeling of tiredness is so profound, it's hard to imagine ever feeling better. I mean, we've all had that feeling when you're sick, I'll never feel better again, So yeah, the mind's like, if I can't risk it. I can't risk slowing down. If I slow down, we will never move again. I will just collapse and I'll be done for. And I would say, try it out. See how long you can sit and do nothing before you get inspired, before you get excited, before your energy comes up and says, ooh, let's do that. Give it a chance. So it's funny. That's why I say, just see how long you can rest. See how long. Like you can't. If you really rest, as long as the intuition asks, you can't stay there. You will finally get excited, get inspired, and you'll start moving in. And that's what I think this Knight of Swords is about. Like wait till the rest is over. And the lion wakes up from the strength card and goes, yeah, it's time to go for a prowl. That's when the knight starts moving. So I think the fear the mind has is that you will stop moving and you will die. That's always what the mind's afraid of. At its base, the mind's trying to keep us alive, and it thinks that if we stop working hard, we're gonna die, okay? So the challenge is to challenge that in the mind. Say, no, what if we rest long enough, we suddenly come back to life? We have more energy. But you have to walk the mind through that challenge because the mind's afraid you're going to die. And I think, again, I've been talking all week, and I always talk about the mind and intuition having a working relationship. The mind is being asked to walk in faith a good portion of the time if you're a heart or body intuitive. And so To ask the mind to do that without having a relationship, it's unreasonable. Like the mind is always going to fight that because it's trying to keep you alive, right? So to get the mind to let go of that instinct to kind of push to rest means to really foster this relationship. I would also say that when you ask the mind to do this, it is very, very difficult for the mind. We have to be in relationship with the mind to help it through this challenge, this transition. So it's not going to be like when you rest, the mind just rests with you. No, the mind's worried. So you have to know going into any time of rest that the mind is going to be chattering, worried, trying to get you to move again. And we have to be able to respond to that. I have to be able to soothe the mind, reassure it. It's okay, you're fine, you're safe. Like kind of pull that anxiety off the mind so it can make it through this transition. Once the mind lives through a few of these, the mind learns through repetition. So the more often you do this, the more the mind begins to recognize this as a new pattern and it becomes less difficult. But to expect the mind to know how to rest, to know how to be in faith and in peace at first is unreasonable. The mind is an anxious, nervous creature, nervous energy. It needs lots and lots and lots of love and support and encouragement in order to pull this off. So that when it does move, it knows what it's doing, it's confident, it's in alignment with the intuition, and it feels really good about it. So that's our final card. See you next time. Bye.